Today let's talk about training phases. For a normal gym going person, you might not be familiar with this, but then when it comes to training, trainers should be able to train you through different phases. And today we're going to talk about those various phases. So training programs basically or typically have phases, and these are designed to progressively build strength, endurance, agility, and even other physical attributes. So let's talk about the main phases and maybe the workouts that are aligned with each phase. And the most basic one, number one, when you come to the gym, is going to be stabilization stroke endurance phase. And basically the goal here is to develop stability and even muscular endurance. And this is done most of the time focusing on building a solid foundation for future training. So basically that's why so these are the foundation phase basically. So let's say the workouts associated with that phase include body weight exercises, things like push-ups, your lunges, your squats, and also maybe things like single leg workouts or exercises whereby we are training for balance and also core stability workouts. So that is phase number one, whereby we are working on the foundations. And when it comes to intensity, we usually use lower weight and we go higher reps. So higher reps is whereby you can go anything between 12 and 20 reps or repetitions. And then we usually have short rest periods whereby we have rest between 0 to 90 seconds. And now when it comes to focus, we usually concentrate on form and control, because you are learning these things. You are coming to the gym for the first time, so we want you to learn the form. So concentrate on controlling your movement and also learning the proper form. So the tempo is usually slower, especially during the eccentric. So eccentric is usually when you are lowering the weight. So eccentric phases of the exercises. So let's maybe some of the tips in this phase. Number one is perform let's say exercises on unstable surfaces. Of course, you have seen things like, let's say, Bosu balls, foam pads and such, whereby trainers will use that to help improve your balance. But then if you're doing a proper functional movements, things like squats, things that mimic daily movement, these also enhance your stability. So you don't have to even use Bosu balls or other, let's say, extra movement for stability. But then if you do the normal functional movement, that's enough for enhancing stability. Number two, we have strength endurance phase. So this is phase two, and mostly the goal is to increase strength while maintaining endurance and muscle stability. So that's phase two. So workouts associated with this phase include doing supersets, whereby you are pairing strength and stabilization exercises, such as like you can do a bench press with a stability ball, push-ups, and also compound movements. So supersets and compound movements. And compound movements include squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, bench presses, and so on. And when it comes to the intensity in this phase, so we usually use moderate weight, and the reps vary between 8 and 12 repetitions, and that is per set. And then we usually have moderate rest, which is anything between 0 and 60 seconds. And the main focus of this phase is to improve, let's say, endurance and strength while maintaining good lifting technique or working out technique. So let's talk about maybe training tips in this phase. So thing is to include supersets, and this is to challenge your muscles and to build endurance. This phase helps transition from endurance to more intense strength workout. So endurance is basically going to help you to do things better let's say in terms of increasing your intensity, breathing better, and so on. Phase 3, whereby we have hypertrophy phase. Hypertrophy is muscle growth basically. So hypertrophy, muscle growth, and then atrophy, when the muscle is, you are losing muscle. So this number 3 is hypertrophy phase, so muscle growth. And the main goal here is to increase muscle size and volume. Yeah. So this is where you are growing your muscle. So the exercises or rather workouts, and they include heavy resistance training, especially compound lifts, that's bench presses, rows, squats, and also including isolation exercises for specific muscles. Yeah. So isolation exercises whereby you are isolating a specific muscle, maybe a bicep, maybe let's say a quad, let's say maybe a tricep. Those are isolation workouts, so whereby you are concentrating on that muscle. So that's a phase whereby you are basically, if you have, let's say, a smaller bicep or smaller arms, you want to focus on isolating those workouts so that you can be able to build especially your weak areas. Yeah. So in terms of intensity, here we go with higher weight, moderate reps. Yeah. So you should be able to have higher weight so that it can be able to cause enough micro damage to your muscle tissues to enable it to regrow, to be bigger basically. And then we have at least longer rest periods whereby we do 30 to 90 seconds so that you can be able to recover before your next set. And the focus here is progressive overload, whereby we gradually increase weights, yeah, so that you can be able to stimulate muscle growth. And then in terms of training tips, is focusing on a mix of compound and isolation exercises so that you can be able to work all muscle groups. So by the end of the week, you should be able to have worked each muscle so that you can be able to create what we call muscular balance. Yeah, because when one muscle is overworked, the opposing muscle becomes weak if it's not worked also, and this one has to compensate for the weakness. Yeah, so let's say if you have a stronger back and a weak, let's say core, let's say your stronger back is going to compensate, and that's going to maybe come up with poor posture or lower back pain. Yeah, so you try to mix compound movements and isolation workout to work all muscles. So this phase can be combined with a calorie surplus and high protein diet so that you can be able to support muscle growth. Yeah, be aware of your diet. That's what we are saying. So a calorie surplus, it helps you to put on mass, and high protein diet helps you to build more muscle. So those are two different things, but you should be able to monitor both. And then we have phase 4, which is maximal strength phase. And basically the goal here to maximize muscle strength and power. That's the goal. So that's phase 4. And the workouts here include heavy compound lifts such as deadlifts, squats, bench presses, and fewer isolation movements. So you are not isolating as much because you are looking for power. You're not looking for hypertrophy. So you are moving a lot of weight. So most of the time you're going to do compound lifts. And this, let's say in terms of intensity, you are going to do heavy weight, low reps. That's 1 to 5 reps. And when you look at, let's say, strength conditioning or strength or power lifters, they usually do, maybe they can do heavy weight even for 1 rep max. Yeah, so because they are trying to build strength, and they usually have longer rest period, and this can go from 2 to 4 minutes. So when you are at that phase, you can rest longer. Yeah? So the focus is lifting as heavy as possible using proper form. And when it comes to training tips, so you have to concentrate on low rep, high weight sets to push maximum strength gains. Remember, the goal is building strength. So you are trying to lift as much as possible. So ensure ample recovery and minimize cardio during this phase so you can be able to conserve energy for lifting. Yeah. So you might ask why cardio usually is energy intense or calorie intense. So when you do cardio before you are lifting, your lifting is going to be severely impacted, yeah, because you'll not have enough energy. So number 5 is what we call power phase, and the goal here is to increase speed and explosiveness while maintaining strength. So power is how fast can you move a particular weight from one point to the next point, how fast, yeah. So that's increasing the speed and explosiveness while maintaining strength, yeah. So the workouts most of the time can include plyometrics. So plyos are usually those workouts that require explosiveness, such as, let's say, clap, push-ups, box jumps, and so on. We also have Olympic lifts, workouts like power cleans, snatches. We have medicine balls, throws, and even kettlebell swings. So in terms of intensity, we focus on moderate to heavyweight with the explosive movements. Reps vary anything between 3 to 6, and then we have long rest periods whereby we have maybe 2 to 5 minutes. And then let's say when it comes to focus, you have to focus here. We focus on fast explosive movements to improve power and agility, yeah. So that's what we are focusing on, power and agility, yeah. So training tips. So what you do here is you focus more on explosive movement that require speed and agility. So plyometric training and Olympic lifts are highly effective in this phase, yeah. So that's phase number 5, yeah. So let's talk about phase number 6, because I think this is most of the time ignored, but then it is very important because you have gone through all these 5 phases. So this is where phase 6 comes in, and this deload phase, whereby also we call it recovery and transition phase. And the goal basically is to allow the body to recover so that you can be able to prevent overtraining, because there's also overtraining. And the workouts here include lighter weights, reduced volume, active recovery workouts. Let's say like swimming, yoga, walking. You are just doing workouts to just move by. You're not having any goal. You just want to recover. You are not pushing yourself to the limit. And then the intensity is really low. And you can do 10 to 15 reps for shorter sessions. And the focus is relaxation and recovery. And sometimes people even take, let's say, a break, maybe a week or 2, even a month sometimes, so that they can be able to have rest, allow the body to kind of recover, yeah. And so the tips here, training tips, are basically scheduling this phase periodically to reduce fatigue and prevent injuries, because as you can tell, there are weeks whereby you don't feel like working out, you don't feel like going to the gym, generally because your body is tired and fatigued. So, and also that phase whereby you are getting more injuries, so you need kind of to relax, yeah. So focus more on flexibility, mobility, and light conditioning workouts. So as we have seen, each phase may last anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. So you should be able to kind of operate that way. 4 to 8 weeks, you change to another phase, depending on fitness goals and also your individual needs. So for a normal person, you might not be able to know, but then if you're careful enough, after being in the gym, you're going to realize how your body is behaving. So transitioning through these phases in a structured way optimizes gains while preventing burnout or even injury. So I hope you have learned something about training phases. If you have any questions, kindly let me know. Cheers.